Hi, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to our channel, Money and You. Again, today, unfortunately, only the two of us. I am quite confident. I am quite confident that our other co-hosts will join us on Wednesday, when we next go live. Today, we will be talking about owning a vehicle, a car, potentially not breaking the bank. In fact, in our own opinion, you don't necessarily have to break the bank, to own a car, and you don't necessarily have to drive a suicidal vehicle, you just need to be a little bit smart about things, okay? And make sure that you drive something that is very safe, especially for people with like loved ones, like children who've got responsibility. You have the responsibility to take care of yourself so that your loved ones do not kind of like, suffer, from missing you. Okay. So we're going to talk about if you want to buy, a car. Do you want to kick it off?
Well, I think those are like very important issues to be analyzed, especially nowadays. Not only think about our commodity, but also about environment. But I think main thing that each of us needs to analyze is a little bit the needs ones have. Of course, here we are focusing on the money and the comfort, but I think we need to use the logic to think really what we need, because sometimes you can buy a car and you don't use it, so or you can, if you really use it and you rent it, I mean it's not worth it. So I think we'll analyze all those aspects and all the possibilities, and in the end of the video you could have a clearer vision.
What you make a decision which way you want to go. I think you're absolutely right. To add on to what you've just actually said, I think going through the pandemic, it made a lot of people think outside the box, think about their own situations, think about what they want to achieve in the future, and think about the things that they've actually done in the past and the things that they've been doing, in the current, situation. So you're absolutely correct. I mean, there are some people who have a fleet of cars. I mean, I only dream of that. A fleet. Yeah, a fleet of cars, and some of the cars, they've never even used them. They've probably just driven it out maybe a couple of times, maybe on a Sunday, and never like driven it again, So
Yes.
It's really it's kind of like thinking about that, like, do I need all this stuff?
But I think in this case, well, I'm like into cars just as much as the car is a useful like accessory for me to get from point A to point B. But I do understand people that they have passion for cars or motorcycles or postcards or little stamps, and they collect something. So in this case, I think those passionate people about anything, they cannot think rationally when it comes to their collections. Doesn't matter what's that. It's cars or Barbie dolls. So
yeah, this is what I'm saying. I think this is my point. A car can be actually a materialistic thing that you actually own. Mm-hmm. And from what I know, the minute that you actually drive the car off the court, off the forecourt of the car showroom, it loses value. It loses significant value, So if you're buying just because, it's the in car to be in, think about it. The minute you drive it out of that forecourt, it's losing value. Unless you're buying a car, unless you're buying a classic car, something that will actually appreciate. Now, that's a different thing altogether, isn't it?
Yes, of course. If we are talking like about retro cars, it's like also like kind of emotional, different cars. But talking about new cars, as you mentioned, the moment the research were made, and the moment when you just drive off the dealer store, your car, your brand new, smelling like new car, loses like about 10% of value, depending on the brand. And within first 5 years, your brand new car is losing up to 65% of its value. So
Yeah.
imagine just 5 years. So it's like a lot of money invested in a very
Yes,
not smart
yes,
way.
yes. I mean, if you bought it cash, you already like lost majority of your investment. If
Yes,
you bought it using finance,
you
imagine
also
all that money that you're paying, the interest, that
that's
you're actually paying. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But
exactly.
but if you can afford it, why not? It's nothing to you. You can afford it. And if you are that kind of person that enjoys, the idea of driving, a brand new car or a luxurious car, you can
Mhm.
perhaps think about renting it. That's a smart thing to do.
Of course, depending how often you use the car, renting can be a very good option, a very economically smart option for you. And you can just enjoy the car, not having to worry about maintenance or other costs that are related, not only with the purchase of the car, but just with using this every day. You are the one
Exactly.
that is renting a car a lot. I know that from my
And
experience.
I was just going to say, when I was younger, and when I was married, I used to buy like just different cars. Let me tell you, these are cars that I dreamt of driving. And I was very lucky. I also worked in a job that actually gave you a car. You could choose a car, and they had like a carpool.
Yeah.
Okay, and dependent on your level,
Mm-hmm.
you could actually choose which car that you wanted to kind of like drive. So at one
Mm-hmm.
point, actually, I ended up with three cars.
I see. I now I understand. You were so ambitious to get
There was
promoted as quick as possible.
there was a car from work, from the
Uh-huh.
carpool, and then
Uh-huh.
there's two cars that I actually bought myself,
Mm. What is the brand
because
of your first car?
I bought, oh no, my first car, forget it. My first car was, when I passed my driving test, my first car was a Metro. I think I paid something like £250. And then
That's
one time when I was driving it from London, with my husband at the time, it
uh-huh.
blew up. Actually, it was on the day that Princess Diana died.
Oh,
Yes, we were on the motorway and we were
uh-huh.
speeding to get home so we can watch the whole thing. And the car engine blew up. You
Oh
know,
my God.
yes. So we
Crazy.
had to wait by, and wait for like emergencies and whatnot to come and, take
Mm-hmm.
us the car people. And
So,
we did that. And then after that, I bought an Astra,
mm-hmm.
and that was okay until it started like leaking
Yes,
oil. And
yes.
once they start doing that, it's like a nonsense.
It's like
So
a death
I
sentence for
sold
the car.
that, and I decided to go the brand new route.
Okay,
And
so
I
your first two cars were second hand.
Yes, second hand.
Okay.
And then I went the brand new route. I bought a Hyundai Accent. They just came out. It was a Korean brand that was very new in the UK. And I happened to be one of the first people to buy, this
Wow.
beautiful car. It
Always
only
such a leader.
Yes, yes. So it had a small engine, so it was easy to run. And
Mhm.
then I decided I wanted to buy a Jeep, and I bought a Jeep.
Oh,
What did I buy actually?
it was
I
also a
bought
brand new car?
Yeah, I bought a Jeep Grizzly.
Wow.
A
Strong
Jeep
lady.
Grizzly, very very strong, big engine. But unfortunately for me, it was petrol, and petrol is very expensive.
I know. I know.
So I went back after a few months, and I swapped it for a Jeep Wrangler. You know, and I always wanted this Jeep Wrangler in olive, soft top. It was amazing. You know,
Amazing.
it was
Fantastic.
absolutely amazing. Then I went and I changed it again. I think after 1 year, I changed it. I got another Jeep. This one was a Grand Cherokee that just came out. So I treated myself.
Well, you work hard, so you deserve it.
Yes, exactly. You know, but I was young, you know, I was young and things were very different at that time, you know what I mean? And
you're still young and beautiful.
Oh yes, I wish.
We know each other. Well, but tell me more, because I've never experienced that. Tell me, how did you feel when you were buying a brand new car in a car dealer store? How do you feel getting your brand new car?
Amazing. And I tell you, the salespeople are absolutely fantastic at selling, because obviously they get very, very high commissions, you know, from selling this. So I think I was just like their dream in that Jeep. You know? They loved me, you know, because I'd go back. I went first time, 6 months later, I changed my Jeep for something else. A year later, I changed my Jeep for something else. So I think they really, you know, really enjoyed me as a client. But the times were different as well, you know. Would I do the same thing today? No, I wouldn't do the same thing today. Do I ever regret it? Absolutely not. It was a great time, the right thing to do at the time. I absolutely enjoyed driving those cars. I really made sure that I enjoyed driving them. Now my life has changed. I now don't need to buy a car. I did, if I'm honest, when I moved to Spain, I did buy a car. But then I thought to myself, oh, this is a bit of a nightmare, you know, because the insurance was just astronomical. It was nothing like I've seen, you know, before.
What is the insurance per year?
Well, I was driving. I tell you what I was driving. I was driving, what was I driving? It was a French car. Now, what was it? Peugeot, yes. I was driving a Peugeot, and it didn't have a big engine, you know. It was a 1 liter.
And you are a crazy driver, but you drive very well.
But I thought I'd buy that Peugeot. That Peugeot was very attractive to me because of my job in working in real estate, you know. You're always on the road with clients, taking them from A to Z, you know. So I thought, okay, nice car, small engine, so it means like less, you know, less running costs. But the insurance was killing me. I'd never seen anything like it. I was paying something like 200 euros insurance per month. I was like, my goodness, you know, because I had the top of the range insurance. I was covered for everything, basically. Yeah, I would not drive a car without being fully covered, and my passengers and everything, you know?
Yes, but you see, here we come to the point we were mentioning before. Like when you buy a car, you don't only pay for the car, you pay for the insurance, maybe for the problem on the road. And when you rent the car, then you just use it when you need it, and any other problems, it's not your business. The company, the rental company is about to take care of that.
And that's exactly what I did. I sat down one day, and actually what happened was one of my clients was looking for a rental. So and my clients don't know the Marbella, didn't know the Marbella area very well. So I was doing some research for one of my clients because they wanted to rent a car for 6 months. All right.
Oh, like a term rental.
Yes. So as I was doing the research, I actually found out that actually it's cheaper for me to rent a car than to actually buy a car. And I bought a car with finance, Mm-hmm. So not only am I paying the monthly rentals on my finance, I'm also paying the insurance,
Yes.
on it, then the running costs. So it was absolutely astronomical for me. So I spoke to this rental company, and actually I don't mind naming the rental company because I still use them now. It was a rental company called Marbisol, and you can find they've got offices at Malaga Airport, and they've also got another office in Marbella on the Golden Mile. Okay, so I spoke to them. I realized that actually it was cheaper to rent with them than to actually own a car. Yeah.
Okay, and I suppose you or what?
Yes. They give you a new car every so often, and really, really nice cars, And they have got a loyalty program that they actually run where you earn points, towards this loyalty program. Yeah. So as you rent with them on a longer term, the price actually becomes next to nothing.
Fantastic. What a coincidence that you discovered this thanks to a customer from real estate. Fantastic.
Yeah. So this was fantastic for me. It was really, really good. It worked out really well. I've since found that there is another very big, very well-known name. It's called Enterprise, and you can use them all over the world. Actually,
they do.
Yes, this is another rental company. And they run something very similar. Okay, their rental rates are a little bit higher, but they run a similar thing where there is like a loyalty program where you can collect points. And actually, with like your next rental with Enterprise, you can actually pay with your points.
Oh, this is fantastic. It's similar to airlines and like hotel points. Very nice. I haven't heard about that. Nice.
Yeah. So it's really, really good. So when you see me when we're driving, and I get a Mercedes because I love I love German engineering.
The only cars you rented when we were driving somewhere, you and me, they were like always all so beautiful.
What did I get? I think during the summer I got Mercedes. And it was like a sports one, right? That I got. Yeah, it was a sports one. And I also got a Jaguar, which is fantastic, British engineer.
You love cars. I think it's like in your eyes.
I love them. My dream car, if I'm honest, is Prince Charles drives one. What's it called again?
Bentley?
It will come. No, it's not a Bentley. No, it's not a Bentley. Prince Charles drives one, and now I've forgotten. I'm not that into cars then all of a sudden. But Prince Charles was the first one to actually have it. Let me just have a look, actually. Let me just have a quick look. Sure. Because it's going to bug me. And I actually want the one that he had.
Luckily, we can Google and we can check anything we are interested in.
I know. I'm going to quickly check.
Sure.
It's definitely not.
Technology is helping us in everything.
I hope I can see, but maybe he's driving a different one these days. But he had one, and I cannot remember. That's it. It's an Aston Martin DB. Now he's driving an Aston Martin DB6, but I believe the one that I really, really like is an Aston Martin DB7.
Do you have an old one? For colors or for anything, you just want the brand?
It's a very good brand, very safe, to drive. Very nice. He used to have I think it was like an olive green. I love it. I just want to get that car, I think, before I die.
And you want the same color, like cream?
Yes. And I think I might be wrong, but I believe it's a classic now, because I think after they're like 20 years or something like that, they become a classic car. So it would be nice to try that one. Yeah, Aston Martin, very nice, very James Bond.
Maybe you can find it, like, just to try in some rental company.
Yes, of course, I would love to. Yeah, that's a great idea. There's actually a company in San Pedro de Alcantara. It's called Salamanca, and you can rent supercars from them. Yeah, so that would be nice to actually rent maybe for one day or for the weekend.
Oh, nice. You're very well informed. Maybe if you have like companies that you used to work and you're really happy with them, maybe we can put them in the description of the video for later.
Yes, for sure. I will actually put.
Sometimes it happens. Some rental companies, I didn't have these experiences because I don't do rental cars, but I know stories that sometimes rental companies, they trying to cheat on you, they put extra cost on your credit card, so it's very good and important to know the companies that they are trustworthy.
I have never heard of that. But I know that we live in Spain and things can be a little bit challenging with some of the companies here in Spain. Okay,
especially when you give them your credit card. That's
exactly
true. That's true. It can be complicated. So
they can run away with it, and they can potentially, use it as an ATM. I mean, just. When we discovered last time, I was actually traumatized from what I learned about last time. Yes, that really shocked me with how the law is when it comes to rental. So you're absolutely correct. Be very careful. Find out in your country, what the rental laws are. I mean, I've had an incident happen to me before, which Ioana knows, where a certain rental car, and I'm not going to mention their name, but when they used my credit card like an ATM, and I had to actually involve the police, and it turned out that the person who was attending to me swiped it so many times, and I don't know how is that possible.
Maybe not, but I know it costs a lot of stress to fix it, everything.
Exactly, because in the meantime they've got your money, and which means that you cannot spend that money, And I never gone back to that rental car, and the only reason I went to that rental car was because the two companies, which are my favorite. I have used another rental car before, but I haven't really experienced like anything bad, but I haven't gone back again because I have my two favorites, that I use. In that particular moment, what happened was they didn't have cars available for me. They only had vans, and unfortunately, I just didn't see myself driving a van. So I tried something new.
Definitely. I cannot imagine you driving a car like that.
I have, though. I have when I was moving house once.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had driven a van.
You're a good driver, that's true.
But thank you so much.
Well, this is just my experience. But
you should have a conversation with my son because he begs to differ.
How come?
Because he's a man. Because he's a man and he has his own ways. So
sorry.
It is what it is. But the essence of what we're saying is, if you don't have, the funds or the resources to actually buy a brand new car or a very good used car, you have the option to rent. Okay.
Yeah, actually, if you don't use a car every day, the rental option is perfect.
Exactly. You have an option to rent, and actually, you will find that it's actually cheaper, to rent than to own your own car. Because with the rental, if anything goes wrong, you take it back. Or actually, the rental company will come to wherever you are and replace the car for you without any extra cost. And this is only if you've taken the full insurance. Okay. If you only taken theft and fire, for example, you might have to pay, to it's like some excess, to have a new car replaced. But if you've got the full insurance, you don't need to pay anything extra. They'll just bring a new car and replace it for you. Okay. And the good thing and the good thing with rental is you don't have to pay anything extra, to kind of like
this is good.
Add with the running costs. Yes. And you can always give it back. Like Iwona says, if you're not using it, give it back.
Yes. And I think you can rent a car, for example, if you live outside of the city, it's maybe a little bit harder because maybe you need a car for daily commuting to your work, to university, or any other place. But if you live in a city and also for environmental causes, you can use the public transport. You just use the car for weekends, for going away for 2 days. Then rental is like definitely much economic, and you don't have those headaches about parking spots, about maybe someone destroying your car on the street.
Exactly, especially if you live in Spain. Because they don't care whether it's a beautiful car, whatever, you will find a dent. Believe it or not, you will find a dent.
What is so funny for me in Spain, the way people park on the street. I mean, I admire this talent because they live like maybe this place, like less than 1 centimeter between one car and another. I'm impressed. It's dangerous. How come they can even fit this car?
It's very similar. Actually, they're driving in Spain as on a whole, it's very similar to the Parisians. The Parisians can park a car in a very, very tiny space. You're like, how did they fit in that space?
Amazing. Special skills, magic. But later, when you have to move the car and you are touching slightly the other car is in front of you or in the back, and you scratch it, it may hurt if you really like your car. So
exactly.
You have no problems, no headaches, just a rental.
Exactly. So please, people, do not drive a death trap, okay? Because this is what you've settled for, and this is what you think that you can afford. There's no need for that, because you've got loved ones that love you. And if anything happened to you, you've got to think about that, it would be very traumatic for the people that love you. And also, do you love yourself? Do you want to live a little bit longer? So don't drive a death trap. Use public transport. If you cannot afford to buy something newer, just rent. That's it. Just rent. And when you can't afford to have it, give it back. There's so many rental cars that there is a big competition on the market. Different rental cars. It's very stunning, actually, because you can walk from one off, especially if you're renting from like a train station where there's so many, rental car offices, or if you're renting from the airport, you have no idea there's competition. There's competition to actually rent you the car, because for them it's money, so you can walk from one office and say, well, that rental car can rent it for me at this price. I believe they'll say, okay, just wait 1 second while I speak to my supervisor or my manager, and you'll find that you can actually play with the prices. This happens in all over the world, by the way. It's not just like in Europe. I've seen it in the US. I've seen it in North America. I've seen it everywhere. The rental market, is very competitive, and you've got room to kind of like negotiate. So this is what we wanted to put out there.
No, fantastic. I think there are so many opportunities for car rental, and also even if that came to my mind, even if you live in the city, you can do like car sharing. That is like per hour. That is very, very useful if you really are not into public transport, but you really want to use a car. Then you can use it for little money and in comfortable way. Just look in the application. There are many for a car available next to you. and that will take you from point A to point B with the same benefits. No maintenance cost, no insurance cost, just paying per minute you are using.
Yeah, the Canadians actually were the pioneers of carpooling. Okay, it's absolutely it's a thing that they set up way back in 2000. And I think maybe it's 2004, 2003. When I remember, is the first place where I heard of carpooling. You know, and they'd actually even developed a lane on the road for people who are carpooling, who are the only ones who can drive in this lane. Yeah, it was like really, really fascinating. So yeah, you have that option. Iwana is absolutely correct. You have that option. And in the world that we live in now, in the 21st century, there's so many options, people. You don't necessarily nowadays. You don't necessarily. I'm very sorry to the car industry. Obviously, you have got people with money, you know, who are able to buy cash and maybe take out these goddamn loans with like loads of interest, you know. But if you're anything like me and Iwana, you know, you can look at other options that are available for you. You know, there's so many options that you can actually, you know, take up. If you want to know more information about buying cars or renting cars, and if you want to know about some of our, I suppose, what word am I looking for? Referrals, I suppose, you know, for car rentals, please drop us an email to mney@gmail.com. Okay, MNEY and the letter U @gmail.com, and one of us will respond to you. And people, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Okay, it does amazing things, you know, for our video and content. And please give us a thumbs up if you can see my thumb.
Yes,
where I am.
Somewhere below here, you can see the email that Rin just mentioned, that you can contact us for anything, any doubt you have.
Yeah, and you can see it's getting dark where I am. I didn't set up the lighting for when it gets dark. I know.
But it's getting so dark quickly.
Yeah, I know. Yes, exactly. So Iwana and I will sign off and we'll say bye-bye, you know, bye-bye. And we will see you next time. We will be back again on Wednesday. And hopefully on Wednesday, our co-host will join us, and we will have fantastic topics again to kind of like discuss. Thank you very much for tuning in and for watching our video. See you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye.